Okay?
So,
Can we put our rivalry aside for the moment? Combine our efforts, we'll pay for it, we'll contribute and pay for it, move that obstacle out of the way, move this line out of the way, and then you can continue from where you left off.
For Rawlings, this is symptomatic of Africa's plight. People not pulling together to escape poverty.
Yeah, in a straight line. That's it. That's it. It's coming. Hello, Chief. You get on with it as well. Harder.
If there is, we've got so many head of states doing like this man, we can develop Africa. We can develop Africa because that one is a very good man.
But the fishermen's response shows they're just waiting for strong leadership.
Ebu, inatoka.
Mstaafu Rais, kwamba tunashukuru kuja kwako hapa, tumefarajika na umefanya kazi kwa kitendo na tunashukuru sana. Huu ndio ubinadamu na kiongozi wote anatakiwa kufanya.
Because this is humanity and all leaders are supposed to behave like this.
Kwamba serikali yetu imetuacha hivi kama unavyotuona. Hatuna msaada naye. Lakini tunategemea uvuvi bado maskini sana.
Your government does not have money, but investors and other governments, IMF, World Bank, etc., are doing their possible best to assist your government to be able to decentralize, some of these loan facilities to private entrepreneurs. And there's no doubt in my mind that the government must recognize, the valuable role that fishermen and farmers play.
And finally, he'll give you this gift. And he said, please have a fried fish.
It's not fried, is it?
No, you go and make a soup.
Kingfish.
Kingfish.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Many African countries inherited Western financial and legal institutions, but there's a growing gap between them and the people they were meant to serve.
The very amazing thing for me about studying law in England is how the evolution of the common law, which we have adopted, is so historically, it just goes in tandem with the character of the English person. Every new law that is passed is because the English is to serve the English person, and I keep on asking myself, our legal system, does it reflect our aspirations, When a fisherman says, for example, I can't access the bank, I'm like, so why does the bank exist? In other countries where the bank has evolved with the people and the legal system has evolved with people, banks are begging people every day, take credit. They send you so many letters, you're even throwing them away. But here, for some reason, mortgages are only for certain people.
There are two fundamental unethical things that are happening here in relation to the Western community. In the sense that how many of us in our developing communities don't make it or become who we are, not so much on account of ability, but on account of influence, who we know, who knows us. And we're talking about not law, I'm talking about justice. There's a problem that I have with a good number of you lawyers. Too many of you lawyers may know the law, but you have very little understanding of justice.
And too many people feel disempowered by the gulf between them and their leaders, who speed by in their fast motorcades.
People are trying to figure out what's wrong with Africa, why isn't Africa developing? And there are many reasons, one of which people say is slavery.
Africa felt the impact of slavery like no other continent. Spanning over 11 centuries, 20 million Africans were turned into human cargo, many of them shipped to the New World, where they enriched the West through their labour.
Watch your step.
Yeah, thank you.
And mind your head. This is a place where they used to keep slaves before being taken to the market. So they were put in here for 3 days or 4 days without food, without any drinks, just to test how strong they were. If anybody could survive here, must was strong, then they were taken to the market. So a lot of people were dying here because of suffocation, starvation, disease. Also the number of people were terrible. As you see, this room was taken about 75 women and children. They just lying on top of each other like a sardine in the tea.
It's a very painful experience, and I can understand and imagine it.
Yeah.
But somehow I still live in Africa.
Yes.
I live in a situation where I see my people suffering.
Yes.
From the lack of, medicines, disease.
Yes.
They can't drink good drinking water.
Yes. Yeah.
In other words, the circumstances under which some of our people are living are just as bad as they were. The only difference is that they have not been cage chained, being taken through this inhuman condition and being sent away. But I feel sad about it. It's painful for me.
Yes.
Jerry Rawlings wants Africa to focus now on the present.
More than concentrating my effort or energy on trying to deal with the remnants of slavery. And I'm saying that I'm not seeing much of that. What I am seeing, rather, are what appears to be the growth of neocolonialism. We ended up being traitors of our own people. We betrayed the hopes and aspirations of our people, the very reason why we drove away the white man, in order to transform our political independence into judicial independence. You see what I mean? Where we can have justice, economic justice, a developmental program that would recognize, the abilities and the creative force of the black man. Instead, things degenerate into a family business, nepotism, tribal, some of these weaknesses are more bothersome today, than talking about legacies of the slave trade.
The same people who behave like, modern day colonialists,
yes,
the Africans, they actually blame that kind of behavior on colonialism. They say that the colonialists came and put up these states like this, and they just got this machine, and it's hard to, when you're actually in it, to dismantle it. And so that's why things are the way they are today.
And democracy isn't always the answer. Too often, it has been corrupted.
Human beings sometimes get intoxicated by power. What is multi-party democracy? Do you know what it's becoming now in Africa? The richest, whether they did it from drugs or thievery, can now buy political power.
So, does this mean you oppose multi-party democracy?
I believe very strongly in democracy. Our people, our traditional way of relating is full of, a democratic, interrelationship. But somehow, in trying to modernize it, we're being pushed into westernize it in a way that conflicts with some aspects of our culture of interrelationship. Besides, we're monetizing it. Power is also big. Naked power without authority is beginning to take its place. No, it's not healthy enough.
If we have a multi-party democracy and the people don't have money, then anybody can buy them out. And that brings me to the very key question that is a big concern to all young people in Africa today. How hard it is to make money. We have so much regulation and bureaucracy snuffling out the people's money-making capabilities. How are they ever going to be empowered enough to be able to have a political voice?
Beautiful.
Anybody today would rather make money than run for politics. But politics has been made so important because the people don't have money. That's the only way to have a voice.
Creating wealth in Africa hasn't been easy, in spite of its rich natural resources. Diamonds, gold and minerals were always exploited by outsiders, either the colonial masters or later Western multinationals. The benefits didn't filter down to the people, but things are beginning to change.
We're going to visit a gold mine which is owned by a South African and a Ghanaian company.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, good morning. Peter Turner, Category Mine CEO.
Were you ever in Ghana?
No. Yes, for a while.
For a while. How are you? You're not Tanzanian.
Yeah.
Welcome. How are you?
Welcome.
How do you do?
Thank you. You traveled well so far?
Gold has history. It's represented currency. And today, what would a lady prefer more than to have a gold or diamond necklace? You know, the jewelry. It's something that never fades or dies away, the value, right?
Over the past few years, Tanzania has become one of the top gold producers on the continent.
This kind of collaboration is interesting. That, you know, Ghana, that has been in mining for a while, goes in with South Africa, coming into Tanzania to start new operations. It's just the sharing of expertise just inside the continent is something that, you know, it would be great to see more of that happening. And
I think, you know, well, it's a developing industry, and you bring skills that have, the Ghanaian industry, for example, is old. I mean, they've been mining gold in Ghana for hundreds of years. And they have a natural skills base, a natural talent pool that we can draw from. And South Africa is the same. So it is ideal having Africans help Africans in a country like Tanzania.
And the royalties that are paid to the government are like what percentage of?
It's 3% of revenue.
3% of revenue.
Not of profit. So it's 3% of revenue up front.
And that's been missing from so many previous deals. Often African countries haven't seen the revenue from mines or oil wells. Or if they have, billions of dollars have gone into the pockets of politicians.
This particular bar weighs approximately 30 kilograms and it contains approximately 90% pure gold. The balance is 4 or 5% of silver and the rest is base metals, copper, zinc, etc. and iron.
How much is that gold bar worth?
It's worth $300,000.
$300,000. Can I hold $300,000?
Yeah. It's heavy.
Wow. 300,000. Ooh. Dollars.
Come on, what about you guys?
We always say if you can lift it with one hand, you can have it.
Look at my size and let me do it with 2 hands.
That's why we bought a 30 kilogram bar.
And yes, the campaign in Ghana is that she smuggles gold bars. Can you believe that?
My handbag.
Yeah, handbag.
That's what they say.
Change the rules now? And that's a 57-year-old man, right?
Africa's wealth is above ground too. Its animals are a magnet for foreign visitors and a welcome contrast to images of poverty and conflict. Tourism's become the second largest foreign exchange earner in Tanzania. But there's little sign of that money flowing to some of the people who live in the heart of safari country. Their lives have hardly changed for thousands of years.
These people are the Azabi. That's what they call themselves. Though in the books they call the Hadza. And they are hunters and gatherers. And we came to see how they live and talk to them about land. And apparently there are tourist destinations in this part of Tanzania.
You have no problems with your rights? Are you okay? Are you sure?
No problem.
Granny. I'm about 50-something years old, and I cannot see little things that well anymore the way I used to when I was young. I want to find out if she sees better. I'd like her to wear it. I mean, look at your hands, for instance. Can you see? She sees better. Well, there you are. And I'm talking about modernization. I'm not just saying that let's accept it wholesale. Which ones, for instance, make life a little bit more efficient and better for us? And that's why I gave her this thing just to try on. This is just one little example. There's so many other, examples, many other things waiting out there, that could enhance their living conditions.
Where are you going?
To see the humble abode of this gentleman. We've got to find a way of convincing them, to improve on these ways. Now, let me see. Shall we?
Nube, it's a thank you.
Are these the least developed people you've come across in Africa?
If you want to call it that, I'll say yes. I mean, until today, I've only seen this kind of thing in films. They seem pretty happy, but you and I know that it's because they don't know any better. If we can introduce them to something a little better, they might probably see the difference themselves. Okay.
The Hadza are known as some of the last hunter-gatherers in the region. They have no access to modern comforts, and they've resisted government efforts to resettle them. They want to stay where they are, but on their own terms.
Sisi hatukatai kubadilisha maisha. Tunashindwa kubadilisha maisha kutokana kwa sababu sisi hatuna ardhi ya kuishi ya kipekee sisi. Sasa tungeiomba serikali ituweze kutusaidia kutupati ya kumiliki ardhi, kupewa eneo letu. Na tutakuwa na nguvu ya kujipangia sisi wenyewe. Mtalii anapoingia tunamchaji sisi wenyewe kwamba watalii wako wangapi. Kama ni 10, kila mtalii kichwa cha mtu mmoja kitatoa shilingi ngapi?
When the Hadza first saw foreign visitors, they used to run away and hide. Now they welcome them, but they want to cut out the guides and middlemen who arrange tourist visits. They know that if they take control over their land, they could make profits, just as other tribes have done.